Beginning on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands, in another turn of events, after meeting with education officials earlier yesterday, June 9th, 2021, stating that all frontline workers, including teachers, will be mandated to be vaccinated or be subject to a bi-monthly COVID-19 test, government officials have now backpedaled and issued a fake news stamp on another story that we believe does not support the general populace. Of course, 284 Media has confirmed within multiple sources within the Ministry of Education the meeting and its contents. One teacher said, and I quote, "Mr. Grant, I received a call from my principal asking if I had been vaccinated or not. She then asked when I intended to be vaccinated." A principal at a local school also said the meeting was chaired by the CEO and we were instructed of the way forward and to document which teachers were vaccinated or not. Now, of course, government officials in response to our report stated, and I quote, "There's a testing regimen for frontline workers coming, but it's not been finalized by the government." In addition to that, the Honorable Leader for Government Business, the Honorable Andrew Foy, in a Facebook post said, and I quote, "People of the Virgin Islands, while your elected government strongly encourages the taking of the vaccines in the fight against COVID-19 to date, your elected government have no knowledge of this alleged decision being made by making vaccines mandatory for teachers and other frontline staff, nor has your government approved such in cabinet. Your government remains resolute to date to not make mandatory the taking of vaccines. We have always stated that it is each person's choice whether they want to be vaccinated or not. I applaud," he said, "the efforts of our public officers, but it is essential that this be ventilated in the public domain so as to bring clarity to any such concerns that may be floating in the public sphere. Let's keep moving together as one people in BVI Love." Now, viewers, we are honored to have the Honorable Minister for Education and Culture, Deputy Premier, Dr. the Honorable Natalio Wheatley, to bring some clarity on the present issue. Dr. Wheatley, thank you so much for your time. Good evening and welcome back to 284 Media.
Terrific Thursday to you, Ron and Javon. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Minister, I want to begin by sharing, obviously, once the story broke, the government of the Virgin Islands, which you are a part of, issued a fake news stamp on that story. Now, inadvertently, in issuing a fake news stamp, you were not only calling the reporter, myself, and the agency liars when it came to that particular story, but you're also essentially calling our credible sources, which includes teachers and principals, liars and giving inaccurate information. Of course, the story has taken on a life of its own with many residents raising concerns. We are now having an opportunity to hear from ministers of government like yourself, and we are so thankful that you're here today. I want to backpedal a little bit, okay? There's a meeting that was held on with education stakeholders. Like you know, I have quotes from both teachers of both primary schools and principals who have stated, like you said, one said, "Mr. Grant, I received a call from my principal asking if I have been vaccinated or not. She then asked if I was intended to be vaccinated." A principal said to me, "The meeting was chaired by the CEO and we were instructed of the way forward and to document which teachers were vaccinated or not." Where did the breakdown go? What is the situation and why has the context been deemed as fake news?
Thank you for the opportunity, Ron. And let me just reiterate my belief that 284 Media is a credible media source, and in no way did we seek to bring disrepute to this, organization that's doing such a wonderful job of engaging with the news. But in terms of the story that was released yesterday, as soon as it was released, there was a real reaction from the public, and persons, I think, got very worried and very concerned. So there was a need for us to act quickly to be able to clear up the inaccuracy of the story. Now, I'm not calling yourself a liar. I'm not calling the teachers or the principals liars, but they were certainly misinformed. And while I know that we have a great relationship, I want you to feel comfortable in being able to contact me to be able to clear up these stories and verify these stories before they go out, because sometimes it can cause a real stir in the public.
So tell us what took place exactly at the meeting and what is the move forward as it pertains to what was said, what took place.
Well, as soon as I saw the story, Ron, I have to tell you, I did call the chief education officer. And she did verify what you said about calling persons to see if they were vaccinated. As it was explained to me, this was an effort to gather statistics on vaccinations. She did confirm to me, however, that in no way did she say that teachers were being mandated to take vaccines. But I certainly can tell you where I believe the breakdown
Please do.
was. And let me just reiterate to the public, Ron, at no time throughout our tenure as leaders in this territory during this COVID-19 pandemic have we taken the position that vaccines should be mandatory. And that remains the case. As long as COVID-19 is going on, we will not mandate vaccines for anyone because it's your body and you should be able to choose what goes into your body. Now, we've been strongly encouraging persons and we've been seeking to educate persons. We've even incentivized vaccines, as many places have done, but we refuse to mandate vaccines for anyone. But we do have a testing regime that cabinet, we didn't approve the testing regime in cabinet. We wanted persons to go out and explore a testing regime for unvaccinated frontline workers. Ron, I have to tell you, frontline workers do not, and I repeat, do not include teachers. And this is a cabinet decision that came with a policy paper. And if you examine the policy paper, you will not see teachers in that policy paper. So that certainly is a misunderstanding that before any public announcement was to be made, should have been cleared up.
All right, and you did mention the testing regime is coming yet to be confirmed by the Cabinet of the Virgin Islands, but this will only apply to frontline staff, correct?
Yes, and let me just explain the rationale for that. If you have persons who are coming into contact with persons who potentially have COVID-19, and you could think about persons who work at the immigration, persons who work at the ports, and those persons are not vaccinated. Right now, it's being explored. Cabinet approved a decision for the Health Emergency Operations Center to explore a testing regime using rapid tests for persons who do not want to become vaccinated, but it would, for the safety of persons in that sector who will be, interacting with guests, so on and so forth, we have to ensure that these persons are regularly tested to make sure that they do not have COVID-19 and pose a risk to guests or to residents.
Okay, you did mention, Minister, the fact that the CEO was indeed within her portfolio reaching out to teachers to get statistics on persons who were vaccinated, teachers who were vaccinated or not vaccinated, but still within the same breath saying that it remains a voluntary decision. Let's get into whether, as a Minister of Education and by extension your ministry, is it your hope then to get more teachers vaccinated as we aim for a full reopening of schools in the BVI?
Well, we've been at this for some time now. We've been educating persons for some time now. We've educated persons. United Kingdom have made vaccines available to us. And yes, it was our hope that persons would take it. But we clearly understand that persons have to weigh their own personal beliefs, their own medical history, because of course, persons, let's say for instance, who have a history of blood clots. Certainly if someone decided they don't want to take the vaccine, they're well within their right to be able to protect their health. We've educated persons on the statistics as it pertains to taking vaccines. For instance, persons who take birth control have a higher risk of blood clots than persons who take the vaccine. And, persons who take Tylenol or aspirin, there are instances around the world of persons who take all of these different medications. And I haven't even spoken about some of the more harsh medications that persons take all the time. All of them come with risks. And we have to weigh our own medical situation and the risks associated with certain conditions against the risks of taking these vaccines or medications. It's a personal decision.
Absolutely. And now, Minister, as a former teacher, lecturer at our tertiary institution, and now a Minister for Education, I think one of the million-dollar question is whether you have taken the vaccine, being that this is certainly a push for teachers to get vaccinated as we reopen. What is your response to that?
Yeah, I'm fully vaccinated now. I took my second shot a few weeks ago. This time I didn't make the mistake I made the first time when I did not take a picture and I did not video it. This time I took a picture just to make sure, because some persons were accusing me of just saying I took the vaccine when I didn't take it. So I have my card that says I'm fully vaccinated, and actually it's going to help me because I travel this Sunday to go to a United Nations meeting, and on the 15th when I come back, I will not have to quarantine because Cabinet recently passed a decision that persons who are vaccinated won't have to quarantine. So when I come back, I'll be free as a bird.
Okay. In closing, Minister, let's speak to the teacher confidence. Clearly, this story and the headlines have caused some hysteria in the community. Let's speak to not only the importance of clarifying what the reality of the situation is, but of course as well getting our teachers to a place where they're comfortable and confident in the education system as they return to school soon enough.
Well, I'm not sure if you're talking about confidence generally in the education system or confidence in the vaccine, but what I would say to everyone out there, those persons who are parents, those persons who are students, those persons who are in the teaching profession, administrators, persons who work in the ministry, certainly we're going through difficult times, but difficult times don't last. You say tough times don't last, tough people do. And I know we in the Virgin Islands are made of tougher stuff, and we can conquer COVID-19, we can conquer the recovery from the storms, and we can conquer anything that we encountered with faith in God and continue to walk in unity. And let's not be divided, because all of us want the same thing and we're all on the same team.
Absolutely. Minister, I want to thank you so much for making time to sit with us and bring much needed clarification to this issue, and of course wish you all the best, and also thank you for remaining accessible to our newsroom.
Thank you. I'll always be accessible to 284 Media and the various media organizations, because I truly believe in democracy and I want everyone to enjoy the holiday weekend.